Hello, my friends. I am your host, Daniel Willcocks, and you're listening to episode number 32 of the Writer's Chair podcast. And it is Wednesday, 5th of August, 2026, as I record this. In today's show, I'm talking to author of over 24 books across thriller, mainstream fiction, feminist romance, memoir, and nonfiction, Rachael Herron, all about why she wrote a fantasy novel with zero marketing strategy, her seasonal writing routine, balancing teaching and coaching with writing, and why she buries the call to actions in her promotional emails, and much, much more. So stick around with that. Now, for my personal update, for keen-eyed observers, I am recording this in batches because we have now hit British summer. There's lots going on behind the scenes. I've obviously just moved house. There's things to sort out. I've got my kiddo for the summer. So from this particular week and also going forward, you'll hear a slightly different intro just because I'm batching stuff so that you still get content, but then I'm not going to be able to jump in and do all the extra stuff just while I'm trying to juggle all the things. I'm sure you'll understand. But yeah, so that's my personal update, is that if you're listening to this now, I'm still on YouTube in the same clothes as last week because I'm recording at the same time. I'm not just gross. And yeah, there's not really a whole lot to update on. So I'm going to skip all of that intro part this time. Just a very, very quick shout out once again for people. If you've got a horror book you want to promote during October, head on over to devilsrockbooks.com/partners, and then you can get involved in my Halloween horror promotion over there, where we are promoting a bunch of books to hungry horror readers. Now, this might be one of the shortest ones I've done. Maybe next week will be even shorter. Who knows? This week, I'm delighted to bring you the wonderful Rachael Herron. So I have followed Rachael for years. She is a wonderful font of knowledge. She runs the Ink in Your Veins podcast, what used to be How Do You Write podcast, with over 400 episodes in her backlist. She's everywhere. She's anywhere. She is wonderful. She is joyous. She brings me just wonderful, just optimism when I listen to her, and just kind of fills my heart with creativity. So it was a joy to bring Rachael on the show, calling all the way over from New Zealand. And we go into a lot of different stuff, as mentioned in the intro. We kind of hop all over the house on things that will help writers of all stages, really, in terms of just where to focus your creativity, how to balance it all. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So now for Rachael, I was going to say Hunter then, Rachael Herron. If you are ready, I am ready. It's pull up a chair, grab a notepad, and let's get into it. Rachael Herron is the International and USA Today best-selling author of more than 24 books, including fantasy, thrillers under R.H. Herron, mainstream fiction, romance, memoir, and nonfiction about writing. She received her MFA in writing from Mills College, Oakland, and she's taught writing extension workshops at both UC Berkeley and Stanford. A dual New Zealand and American citizen, she lives in Wellington, New Zealand, with her banjo-playing wife and brick-eating dog. Rachael, welcome to the show.
Hello, Daniel. It's so nice to see you. We were just saying that we haven't really hung out on the air for, 6 years? Oh my gosh.
Scary.
Would that make it 7
7 years? Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I remember distinctly.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I remember distinctly sitting on one of my old houses on the bedroom floor. Not the bedroom floor, the living room floor. And I don't know why, because I had an office, but that was where I recorded. I think I was on your show back then on the How Do You Write?
I'm remembering back when my show was called How Do You Write, and now it is called Ink in Your Veins. Same show,
yes.
but yeah.
Totally rebranded. And we'll go into some of that, but I do have a question to kick us off. And that question is, you're over in New Zealand now. Last time we spoke, you were a full citizen of the United States. What is life like at the minute in New Zealand? How has the move treated you?
It's wonderful. It's truly wonderful. My mom was a Kiwi, so I had the dual citizenship, and my partner and I always talked about, the pipe dream of someday living in the most beautiful country in the world. But it really was only the pipe dream. And then it was 2021, and 15 months later, we were still locked down basically in the States, and we hadn't seen our family who lived nearby, and we still liked each other. And Zoom had taken over all social aspects of our lives, and we thought we could do this from the other side of the world. And we just said, "Do you want to go?" And then the other one said yes, and then we did, which was it was bananas, because my mom was from here, but I don't have much family. We didn't really know anybody, so we sold our house and everything we owned and left all of our friends and family and came down here 5 years ago. And we just hit our 5-year mark last week. And
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And it has been tremendous. We live in Wellington, which I think is the best place in New Zealand. And yeah, have you ever done that? Have you ever done the full restart
Do you know what? It is
somewhere
funny you
else?
mention it. So I not a full big everything go. I had like a bit of personal upheaval a few years ago, and basically where I am now is about 3 hours away from all of my family because of
Mm.
moves and circumstances and stuff. So it's a case of I'm obviously not halfway across the world. And for people listening, it's currently 8:15 for me in the evening. It's 8:15 a.m. for yourself.
7:15. Yeah.
7:15. Oh, wow. Even earlier than I thought. I'm so sorry to get you up.
It's all good. I get up early.
Jeez. But yeah, no, so me and my partner, we're downsizing everything. We've been like throwing everything out, trying to minimize. We really want to start sort of shrinking what we have so we can kind of do more of that move. But
Yes.
yeah, like it is nice having that kind of reset. Like we literally moved last Thursday, which is 4 or 5 days ago as of recording it. So we know no one nearby. We've got nothing.
Wow.
Kind of. I'm fully remote with my work. My partner's currently unemployed, so it is not New Zealand, but it's a bit of a fresh start.
It's the same thing because on a daily basis, you're not in your same routine. You're not in the same, you're not seeing the same faces. You've got to create new community. I'm not even plugging this. I'm just saying that I'm proud of this. I wrote a book called Unstuck about the whole
I was going to bring it up.
Oh, well, thank you. Because it was because just the move part was hard enough, but the brain space of creating new community and a brand new life somewhere else really does take something. But good for you for doing the move. And doesn't it feel so fresh? There's that beautiful feeling that you can like lie in bed and you can think, I know everything that I own. Because how long had you been in the house before?
Oh, a while.
Yeah, and you know how like
in bits
stuff
and
gets
starts,
tucked behind and behind in that
just
closet in the
boxes that
back. I have
just
no
sit
idea.
there and don't do anything with. Yeah.
And now you know everything. Oh, congratulations. And that's really exciting about starting fresh.
Yeah. Well, this is it. So, I mean, I was going to kind of go on a different tangent, but we're there anyway. So, with the Unstuck stuff. So, you are someone who it always sounds creepy saying this. I have followed you for a number of years now. Obviously,
we've known each other as friends for a number of years. Yeah.
For sure. And I think you came into my orbit through Pedal to the Metal with Jay Fawn and listening to that a lot and loved that show. Always
Jay.
sad that's gone. Yep.
Me too.
Me and Sasha, I think, carried the proverbial torch for a little bit afterwards
with
with Next 11 Authors. You're now doing the Black Heron with Sasha Black. So
accidentally,
yeah, you stole her from me, Rachel.
I did. I swooped.
Yeah, but you are someone who I watch, and you are living it, man. Like you are producing work. Or at least this is, it might be all manicured from the front, but you are someone who is, seems to always be. As hard as writing is, there's always a joy that comes from you. And listening to you talk on these podcasts, there's always it's reinvigorating hearing that kind of creative energy that comes from yourself. And obviously, you teach writers and you do workshops and you do trips and you do all that kind of stuff. Where does that energy in you come from? Where does that kind of outlook come from to be able to get to a point in COVID where we're like, we're stuck, we don't see a way past this, and then suddenly going, you know what? Other side of the world. Where take me back to where you think that comes from.
Where the energy comes from. I have always been a ball of energy to a problematic point. Like when I was I don't know, 7, 6, maybe 7 or 8, my very, very hippie Kiwi mother who, didn't really believe in doctors or medicine, but she took me to a shrink just to see like what is wrong with this kid. And this was before ADHD was even, this is the late 70s. This is before ADHD was a thing even really for boys. It was still called hyperactive then. And I was diagnosed hyperactive. And for me, like both me and my wife have ADHD, but I have, I've always had the the hyper part. And when my eyes open, the engine starts and it just go da 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 all day until I lay back in bed, and then da 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 until I crash. Whereas my wife has the inattentive part. I don't think two hypers could be together. I don't think two inattentives would ever be able to like leave the county, let alone the country. They would not pull off the paperwork. But I think it might come from that inner spinning, which is if I don't if I don't have a focus place for this energy, I don't even know what I don't know what I would do. Like, it just kind of panics me even to think about. Um, and for a long time, the energy in writing had been and is still focused on making money because I am the sole supporter. My wife is has been unemployed a while. It's hard to find a job in her tech industry, front-end web development, which is now done pretty proficiently by AI. Um, so my drive, comes from wanting to make the money. But for a while now, my writing drive has come from a complete rejection of chasing the market. When I chase the market for my books, I tend to hate the process, and I can't do that. So when we moved here, probably a year after we moved here, I got this idea for a contemporary fantasy, and that wasn't a genre I was interested in writing in, but it was a book idea that I couldn't. I never have ideas. I'm not an ideation kind of person. I have like one good idea a year, maybe two. And I wanted to write it so badly that I decided this was going to be a new series. I was going to self-publish it, and then I got done with that book, which I loved writing. And I was like, no, I don't want to self-publish it. So I gave it to my agent. And but the reason I'm bringing it up is that it was really a book of my heart and only for fun. And I ignored the market. And that was the one that my agent sold. And it became an instant USA Today bestseller, which, I'm a slow burn. I have been, I've published a lot of books and they all, they do okay and they bring in money. But it was a reminder to me that it is okay just to follow my heart. So I'm releasing a book soon, and I'm working on 2 more right now, and they're all just total books of the heart. Because who cares? I'll make the money in other ways, and hopefully from writing. But I don't think I answered your question. The energy's always been there. The energy's always been there. And may I point out to listeners that it is 7:20 in the morning, and I have not had any caffeine yet. This is how I am. None. This is just water because I have to go slow with the caffeine. The caffeine will make me bananas.
This is all for show on mine. This is decaf, but it feels nice. It feels
I do
fancy.
like a decaf.
Oh, I do, especially in the evening.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah. So there's a lot of, you talk a lot about this writing books from the heart and that you'll make money other ways. And I think one of the things I really want to kind of get from you, particularly for the listeners of this show, is that, like, I myself am in a situation in which I've been writing since 2014. I published my first book in 2015. I've got a bunch of books behind me, like literally just sort of unpacking one of these shelves here.
Yeah.
You say obviously about writing books, and if they're not from the heart, if you're not enjoying them, the process is just difficult. Why is it taking me 10 years to learn this? I've only just hit that point where it's madness.
I don't know why it takes us that long, but I think it does. And I see that a lot is, well, I mean, it makes sense. If we're good at something and we enjoy doing it, we're good at writing, we enjoy writing, why wouldn't we try to make as much money from it as we can? Fabulous. I mean, it's not a bad way to go. But once it hijacks us, it's hard to find the joy, and then we stop doing it. When we had the pedal to the metal, what did Jay and I call it after that? We called it the Writer's Well podcast.
Yes.
When we tried to like SEO it, we shouldn't have done it. We were just chatting.
Perfectly to this point.
Exactly. And he helped me because he was he is a plotter to the extreme, and I am a pantser to the extreme for the most part. Nowadays I have a little bit of an idea, but still not very much. And he and I was struggling to start this romance that I was writing. It was the last in this series. It was literally my last straight romance. And he helped me plot it out, and I have never been more miserable writing a book in my life. It was the worst writing experience I've ever had, and it wasn't Jay's fault. Plotting it out with him was fantastic, but the actual writing of it was hell. And but another thing I want to point out is that even when we say like, well, and then didn't enjoy it, the readers still enjoy that book, which I cannot fathom. Like, that book still gets good reviews, which I just don't think I deserve. With the amount of bad attitude I had while writing that book, I deserve only 1 star for that. But luckily they couldn't tell But did it does it translate to the the sales? I don't know. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. I like to think about what Becca Syme talks about in terms of why things sell. The only one who knows why things sell is Loki, because that's who runs the book publishing industry is Loki.
Yeah.
It is all chaos.
Yeah. I think this is the thing is like, as I say, I've been doing this publishing for 10 years, writing for a little bit longer. And I've got a stack of books. Like I've ghostwritten a bunch, but out of all of those books, there's probably about 3 that I can say, like, I'm happy with the others, but there's 3 that I can say I'm proud of. And I'm now in a position where I've stopped caring about the income from books to the point that I'm just enjoying working on these. I've got a couple of novellas in the works. I'm so like happy with, just in terms of like what I can do. And there's something about that feeling that I'm now starting to take from smaller works into novels. And
Oh, yes.
what is it about commerce that makes us kind of, I think for me, it was almost like I found a bit of success with my first book. And then immediately all that love for the craft and for the book and everything suddenly went, oh, now I can make money from this. And then it just veers direction. It seems to be such a common problem with people when they start out writing.
I think that there's something that we are used to our output being one thing. If I learn how to make a really good banana bread, say, like I feel like the next day I might be able to go make another one, and the next day another one. And then if somebody says, I'd like to buy that banana bread, I can say, well, I can make a lot of them. Whereas in writing, there, I believe, and what I've seen in my own practice is that like I can always revise. Revision is my happy place. I know all of the tools for revision. When I get to revision, I pick up the tools, I just start using them, and I make a good book that I'm proud of. But the first draft, nobody knows. The first draft is like, the first draft surprises all of us. We can never make the banana bread again. So there is this level of hubris that then is shot to the ground when we go like, well, I'd like to make a bunch of books in order to sell them in this banana bread way, and we can't, which is very frustrating, right? And I feel like we all feel like that. I sold my first 3 books in a 6-figure deal. It was the fairy tale come true. My agent sold them to HarperCollins, and then the first book did well. Here I go, I'm on my career, probably quit my job soon, my day job, and then the second book came out the week Borders closed, which was the biggest seller of romances. And then the third book just like tanked. And then, in 3 books, I'm reinventing my career already. And that's the way it goes. There's nothing to lean on except, and it does take some of us a few years to get there. There's nothing to lean on except the enjoyment that you're taking when you're working on the book. Like, and if you can lean on that, and if you can, and I love what you said, that there are those books that you're proud of. And that is my goal now, is always to make a book that I love that is better than the book that came before. And I don't care what anybody else says. If they say this is the worst book Rachael Herron's ever written, I don't care if I truly believe that it's my best book and they're just wrong. They're not seeing what I'm seeing. That would be okay. It wouldn't be enjoyable, but that would be okay if I truly believe that. And that has happened for like the last, I don't know, my last 10 books or so. They're always better than the one before. Yeah.
So what does that look like in terms of your writing routine, in terms of how you're getting your books down? Has that changed much over the last few years as you've kind of progressed through these books?
It hasn't changed much. My process has always been fast, crappy draft. Really, really, really drafty, just full, 100% full of holes. There's nothing good about my first drafts. And then revision. But I do tend to write, and I hate knowing this about myself, but I do write in seasons. There are seasons where I'm not actively writing on a book. It'll be, 2 or 3 months of I'm looking at something else. I'm working on building something else. And then I'll go into the writing phase and then out. I would love it if I were a, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. writer all week, every week. And I always go in and get that, but I just don't. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, yeah. I love speaking to podcasters because they always shoot the question back.
I know. And I apologize, but I really want to know.
No, perfect. I mean, so I mean, I'm in a really weird phase with mine at the minute. So it used to be that I went through a real strong phase of I was disciplined for a good few years, sort of around 2019, 2020. But then, ironically, obviously, COVID and like I went full time with my writing in 2019, and I'm back in a day job as of a couple of years ago. So things have switched a bit, but I am
Which is
my
I think that's one of the smartest things that writers can do, honestly, is go back to a day job.
it takes the pressure off.
Takes the pressure off, and now you can create what you want.
Exactly.
Without the
So
panic. Yes.
I've got about, I think 5 projects on the go at the minute at various stages, only because the last couple of years there's been, as I mentioned earlier, like a bit of personal upheaval. So that kind of took away from the writing to the point where I was like, well, life demands my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm back in a couple of so for the last few months, I got into a spin of I've finished the drafts of 3 different novellas and books and things relatively quickly. But for me, most of my heavy work gets done quite early in the morning. I find if I really want to just get onto a roll and get stuff done, I will be up maybe about 5:45, 6 o'clock. Now I'll just give myself that sort of golden hour in the morning where I can just get things done. And then fortunately my day job has a bit of flexibility that during the day I can also get a little bit more done here and there. But if I want to sort of do steady chunks, I think similarly to you, I'm coming around to the idea of seasons where it's like, okay, I'm going to get this done, then breathe a little bit, and then, pursue what it is that comes next.
It is, and to go back to this really lame banana bread analogy, it is a lame one, but like, if I decide I want to make banana bread and sell it every day, it is not going to emotionally or mentally tax me to do that. Maybe physically, but I know that if I can reliably do this from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every single day of my life, and it's not taking that much from me. Whereas I think a lot of us find that, oh my gosh, I can get this much done in 2 hours. And then we do the math. We do that tragic, fatal math, which is, well, if I could do that in 2 hours, then I could do this. And then by, 6 months, I could do this. And then in a year, I could do this. Whereas we don't understand that we will do it in 2 hours. But then next week we're fighting a migraine. And then then we've got some emotional stuff. It is not banana bread. It is going in and, it's just writing. It's just putting words on the page, but it is also excavating our souls at the same time. It's not never do the math. I say, even though I love doing the math. Like I love it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I fell for that kind of trick was over a while. Cause I, as I say, I was very, very disciplined for a while. And so I was ghostwriting for other clients as well. So it was kind of my own books and that was all I was doing. So each day was, if you don't hit X, then you're behind. And it's,
that's exhausting.
Yeah. Whereas now I've kind of really taken my foot off the throttle. And for me as well, because this is something that I'm very, very interested to know about your process as much as you're happy to share, is kind of once that draft is done, because I've now hit a period again where I'm starting to care less about Amazon. I'm starting to care less about online sales. Like obviously it's nice when they come, but one thing that I'm really sort of turning my ship towards is the idea of doing in-person events, setting up tables, really trying to find ways to connect with readers on a real level. And, I figured out I've got sort of like a table of books that arguably you can sell for a greater markup to people, but also that's kind of just 50% of it. The other 50% is not just sitting at a computer and hoping that the algorithms take off. So you are someone who has self-published, you are someone who's had success with traditional publishing. What is your kind of viewpoint on this? When you finish a book these days, how do you make the decision of what you want to do with it?
I am really bad. I love everything you said right there. I'm really bad, but I'm bad at making the decision. I want to go back and address the in-person events. Do you know the singer songwriter Nico Case?
I do not.
You heard of her? She's kind of an Americana legend. She's great, but she said one time, she kind of broke out and she was huge. She still is. She's really big. She'll sell out, a stadium. But they said, well, then you're an overnight success. You came out of nowhere. She's like, no, I didn't. I made every single fan, one fan at a time, face to face, basically. And I have thought of that ever since. And I think in the, going towards AI and, AI everywhere, and there are going to be very soon books that are totally written by AI that will be better than I can ever write a book. However, I, when, and I go back to this example, but the very first time that the very first time, and then a couple of other times after that, when AI beat, the Grand Chess Masters, it was
Yes.
fascinating. Everybody wanted to watch. But then people stop wanting to watch that and they go back to wanting to watch people. And I think the more human we can be out there in the world and making those connections, whether that is in in-person events or in our newsletter, being ourselves, I think that's going to become more and more important. Oh, and then to your question about how do I decide? I decide really badly. I wrote a memoir because I got sober in 2018. And I wrote and it was an accident that I got sober. I thought I was creatively burnt out. I didn't realize that I had an addiction problem. And I tried to fix that with a stunt memoir where every month I would do something to try to fix my creative burnout. And it was month 3 that I realized, oh no, I have a bigger problem. So that book has been on the back burner, and that's the one I'm bringing out this year. But I wrote it. I decided I was going to self-publish it, and then I didn't do anything with it for a long time. And then I got it completely kind of similar to the 7 Miracles of Beatrix Holland, the fantasy book, but I got it completely edited twice, developmental edited, copy edited, proofed. And then I got tired and I gave it to my agent. I said, do you want to take this out? She had seen it and she hadn't really liked it. And she read it again and she's like, I really love what you've done. This is great. And I hadn't changed anything. I said to her, Susanna, this is the same book that you read. She goes, oh yeah, no, I think I was just in a bad mood.
Yep.
So, and I loved that she admitted that. I mean, because she's human too. Like the editors out there, they could read the best book in the whole world, but they're in a bad mood. They're going to hate it. So she loved it. She took it out and it failed to sell. So that was earlier this year. It was out for 4 or 5 months. Memoir's having a real hard time selling right now. And so now I'm happily taking it back and I'm going to self-publish it. But I am never a person who knows where I want to go. There are some things, like if I went back into romance, I would never even tell my agent I would just be self-publishing, because that's straight up genre fiction. I believe that most of the time you're going to make more money if you self-publish.
Yeah.
I've gotten the rights to the rights to all my romances back. So I self-publish all those. And nowadays I think if it's like memoir, I think I would again ask my agent to take out and see if it could sell it, and then I would self-publish. But the novel that I'm writing right now is a second fantasy, kind of along the lines of 7 Miracles. And I would be truly happy to self-publish that, because I think I know how I could sell that. So that's a long answer to say I'm pretty fluid in where I will take a book or what I will do with it.
Yeah.
I have failed in every single aspect of publishing, and I've also succeeded in them. So failure, I guess, doesn't scare me anymore.
Yeah. There's always another door you can open and step through.
Yeah.
So I think that is the difficult thing of where I'm at the minute, and also a lot of sort of my author friends in my sort of dark fictiony horror circle, is that kind of, there's a lot of, is there any point chasing an agent these days? Is there any point chasing the publisher? And obviously, like, it was from yourself and Jay that I learned the whole, you're guaranteed you can self-publish. That's an option. The other alternative, it isn't trad pub. It's chasing the possibility of.
You can't choose to be trad published. You can choose to be self-published. But I will always say that, like, my agent, if you wanted an agent, cool. And my agent has always made more money from me than I could for myself, because she works with foreign sub rights, and she's got a foreign agent doing that kind of thing. So, like, and I also like her. And but every year on my show, Ink in Your Veins, I break down what I made the year before on the first episode of the year. And I don't know, for the last 5 years or so, I have always made more money self-publishing. And that is with the backlist I do not promote or do anything with. And that's something I would really like to get better at. But even when I'm actively selling books, I'm still making more money from the self-pub. So I'm a very, very big self-pub fan.
Yeah. What would you do if tomorrow morning you woke up and there was no backlist and people didn't know Rachael Herron and you had to start from day dot? Do you have an idea of where you might begin again?
I I do know where I would want to begin again, and I don't trust that I would be able to do it with this. I think I write in 6 genres or 7 genres because there's another one, but because of the ADHD, because well, not even ADHD, just because my brain likes novelty and um, but I do have some regrets that I didn't pick a favorite genre and stick in it. I know that I would sell more books if readers were expecting me to produce, a book every X months in this particular genre. So if I were to wake up with no backlist or want to start a pen name that that nobody knows, I would write in series, whether that was for traditional or for self-pub, probably for self-pub, because readers really love that. They love that. And that's what I was doing with that fantasy book that I then gave to my agent that she sold. I was like, I love witchy fantasy. I love it. And I couldn't even make it to book 2 on my own. So, but that is what I would do. That is what I would hopefully do, is find a niche that I could stay in and be happy in for a while.
It's keeping it exciting, because I don't know. I've never officially been diagnosed as ADHD, but the older I get, the more I find that I really struggle to stay the course. And
as we say, you might be peer reviewed. I can see that
potentially. But this is it. Like, so I'll have the best of intentions. I'll be like, this is a series I want to do. I'll do book 1. I might do book 2. If it's with someone, I'll kind of keep going until we've done what we've agreed to do.
That makes it easier. Yeah.
But immediately I'm then like, but I want to do this shiny thing over here. And this is totally different upswing. And like, part of the issue with my back catalogue is I've got post-apoc. It's arguably like YA horror. I've then got horror, and then I've got bits of fantasy, and I've got all these kind of like mixed things. So speaking again, like we mentioned before we started recording, about our mutual friend, Johnny Trivant, he is someone also that writes in 1,000 different genres, but there seems to still be a way to make your name and to own yourself as a brand in order to make those things tie up. You might not have, an avid reader that would cross to each one. It might be a bit more of a difficult sell, but coming back to that kind of loyal fan idea, you then have someone that knows more pieces of you, which I'm starting to, I mean, this is just me convincing myself in this conversation, that's where I'm swinging, but
Absolutely. No, I 100% agree. I believe that because I have had fans who were with me from day one, because I had an old knitting blog in the early, in 2002 is when I started getting readers from the knitting blog. And I have readers from then who have read every book I've ever written, even though they are such disparate genres, because as writers, our core voice will always be there, and they resonate with that voice. And the tricky part is it's almost impossible to convince someone who doesn't know us at all to read all of our books in a genre. But once we get a reader who will read other genres, they will go with us because they want that voice. Like I wrote, when I was writing like the book club fiction, women's fiction, I wrote this book that literally the woman finds out in the very beginning that she's dying, and she doesn't die in the book, but she's not getting saved. She's going to die by the end of the book. And I would get emails from people saying, I just love your warm, cozy, happy, voice in your books. I'm like, I was and in my thrillers and the thrillers that I wrote, that was my problem. And I remember my editor saying, this is great, love it, but we need less feely, more stabby. And I actually had to go into a pass where I added more terrifying action and took out some of the heart. So I think that what we're saying is our voices, we can write in these. I'm not having a different voice every time I write a book, and neither are you. We are bringing that core story, that core message to all of our books.
Yeah.
Oh, I love writing so much. So you mentioned obviously earlier that that's not entirely your income is writing the books and writing the stories. You supplement that with other things. How do you approach making money in a way that obviously you can still creatively write, but you're still obviously using your writing knowledge and everything to build your business? You've got the podcast going, you've got your revision classes, you've got all these tools and courses, things to help writers.
do you separate the two from each other, or do you kind of use them fluently in order to try and ensure that you're, staying afloat as an author?
That's a good idea. I do try to make sure that my days include um, touching the writing, whatever stage that I'm in, and also touching the teaching and also the marketing, which is very hard to do. But I've been lucky enough that I found out that I really love to teach. Like, I don't like it. I love it. And there are days when I cannot tell which I like better, the teaching or the writing. And I always want to say it's the writing, like 51%, but every once in a while the writing's really hard and writing and teaching is much more fun. And I also found that I am teaching. I'm a teacher. Like, I do teach, but that's not really my role. I'm like a cheerleader. I'm just like Mr. Rogers plus Tim Gunn is basically who I am for my writers, and I really love doing that. So it's not hard to create things for them to help them get to these amazing places. I've had some writers recently who have had like major deals, much bigger than I have ever gotten in my life, and have hit lists I've never even seen, and also have had the self-published folks hit really great success, and I love watching them do that. So it's not hard to support them. I love doing that. What is hard for me, and the hardest thing is always going to be, is just asking anyone to buy anything at all. I hate it so much. It gives me so much stress. I offer these 90 days to done, where you write your first draft, and 90-day revision where you do your revision, where I teach all the tools, and and sending out those emails saying, "Oh, the class is open." Whereas I know, and I would tell anybody that I was working with, like, you are just offering them a chance to buy something that they may want. And if they don't want to buy it, no one's going to make them buy it. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody dies. Just send the email. And in fact, what I hate the most, you didn't ask this, but I'm going to go there. What I hate the most is the last minute email, sending the last minute doors closing email. And I hate it to my core. It will actually make me feel ill sometimes. And I always do it because people always join. And you know who joins? People like me who never join anything the first time they see it. I need to be like, it starts in 4 minutes, I'll join. I am that person. So, but the selling of anything that I make, whether it is the teaching stuff or a book, is so hard. When Unstuck came out, I think I sent, this is so embarrassing, but I sent one email. That was my marketing. One email to my list once. I told them about the Kickstarter because I did Kickstart it as well. But that was it. Yeah, I should probably tell them about it again. It's been out for 2 years.
It is hard. It's sticky, and it feels gross, and it feels like an extra admin job to do. But you're right. Like, it is, I think for me, because my background is marketing and specifically digital marketing and things. So I've gone through all the theory and stuff, and it's like, I know those are tactics that are effective, and I know it works. And obviously, like you say, you're not doing anyone a harm. Like, they can unsubscribe,
and they don't bother me when I
email.
get them, as long as I think that email is high value email. I don't mind when they ask me to buy something that I'm not going to buy. I don't care.
Yeah, but then it is that thing. It's just like, but it's just me bothering people. Is it too much if I do X, Y? And you're right. Like, those last minute ones are so effective. I do just want to quickly jump back to what you were saying about, because I've had something similar with people that I've coached, where they've gone off and they've won awards and they've had these deals and things have gone on. Low-key, between me and you, how do you deal with the jealousy?
Oh, that's such a good question.
We're happy for them. We're really happy for them.
I will say, and this is going to sound super annoying, but I think I was born without the jealousy bone. Like, I know. It's super unsatisfying.
Now I just outed myself on air for no reason.
No, because I would say that 99.9% of people are jealous. Here's what I get. I get insecure, which I don't know if it's a worse feeling or a better feeling, because again, I don't really understand jealousy very much. Every once in a while I will have a twinge of the jealousy, like, oh man, they made what on that? But it really doesn't have. So, but oh my God, my student, and I'll just drop her name, Portia Elan, if you have not read Homebound yet, holy crap, you would love Homebound. Just to go get it. It's like spaceship and video games, and it's incredible. And the thing about this book is it is incredible. And no wonder it sold so fast and so well, and is doing so well. And I went into the kitchen after because I got the ARC. I had seen a lot of Portia's writing when she was in my classes. And I remember telling Lala very early on, my wife Lala, at dinner, I said, this person that I'm working with in my classes, this book is like it's made for you, Lala. It's made, it's so good. And then I got the ARC because she's gonna come on the show, and I'm so excited. And I was so intimidated and so insecure when I read this book because it's so much more beautiful and so much more well-crafted than anything I could have imagined. And I walk in the kitchen and I tell Lala, I'm literally in the dumps. I'm like, I just don't know why she was working with me. Why would she work with me? I can't do this. I don't even understand what she's doing. How is she doing it? And Lala looked at me and she goes, do you think that Simone Biles' coach can do the things that she can do? And it fixed it for me. I was like, no, you know what? I bet Simone Biles' coach can't, because otherwise Simone Biles' coach would be out there on the,
Yeah.
But but then that made me feel like I still had a role to play, and that Portia and I could still be friends and talk about writing. But yeah, so and that may be like what jealousy goes to in my body is total insecurity. And I think that's probably what it is. Like, well, I guess I should just quit forever. I can't do that. So
yeah,
that's what I get.
I will do a sly little shout out if she's listening. Daisy, I see you. Daisy's writing is absolutely incredible. So insecure about it. I want her to get over that line and just get it out, because every time I read something from her, it is gorgeous. And you know, when you say to someone, you're like, oh, your writing's really good, and you can see them just being like, oh, they're just saying that, and it's like, no, it's phenomenal. Please keep going.
Yes, I can think of my own students that I can see that in their faces. And as I always say, I don't blow smoke. I am always nice. I am always kind, but I'm always truthful. So students, if you're listening and I've told you that you're amazing, go get it out there. Get it out there so that I can be insecure in the kitchen. Like it's a really wonderful feeling, honestly.
It is. We obviously mentioned Ink in Your Veins, your podcast with over 400 episodes and counting. That has been going for some time now. How useful is the wrong word. How do you view your podcast as it relates to your business these days? Because from the outside, it seems to be a bit of a core engine for the things that you do. And obviously there's so much content on there, and you bring in that enthusiasm to each episode. How do you think about your podcast? Is this where you say you don't?
I'm going to say I don't, because as you're saying it, I'm like, whoa, I wonder if it is an engine. I don't know. Do you think it is? Like and I am that dumb sometimes. In my head, it's always been me and another writer talking about writing. And the whole show's premise is, I just want to hear people talk about their writing process, because I am always looking for the magic bullet that will make everything easy for me. And I will never get tired of the question, how do you write? How do you get it done? Never get tired. And I think, honestly, this is going to sound so dumb, but the engine that it creates for me is reminding me that I'm a writer, and getting to talk to writers who I admire, who then say that they feel the exact same way that I do and that you do and that all of my students do all of the time, just has made writing so much easier for me over the years. That's my goal as a coach. That's my goal as a writer, is to never quit writing and to not allow the people that I work with to ever quit, because that's the easiest thing to do, is to quit writing. And no one ever plans to quit writing. What they do is they're like, oh, just not today. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. And then, I can't do it tomorrow, but I'm going to look at it on the weekend. And then they've quit the book and they never made the decision and they never go back to it. And so having the podcast is the engine for me remembering to never, ever quit. And also I know that it brings people to my mailing list. They join the writers mailing list, which basically I'm just trying to give away everything I've ever learned, and also occasionally make asks that I hate to ask. So if anybody gets on my list from listening to this, if I ever tell you about something that I'm offering, please know that I hated sending it.
It came with pain.
It came
Well,
with-
this is
and that is why usually I try to give like I give like a tip or a thought. And, like the email is about helping the person, and it's usually whatever I sell is usually in the PS. You'll notice it's always PS. Classes are open, because that feels less gross.
Yeah. You almost have to hunt for it. It's like, I know she's asking something. Where is it?
Is there something
Very
in
deep
this one?
in there. Yeah, just a tiny little hyperlink. But it's interesting because I've, again, like similarly, I've been podcasting since I think 2016, 2017. I'll have a run for a year or so, and then like something will drop off, and then I'll come back in a different iteration. But for whatever reason, I miss speaking to writers when it comes to the hiatus between whatever podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think this will be around sort of episode 31, 32 of this podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
But there's something just nice about having these chats and something so real. Like it's hard to speak to a writer and not feel energized after. But then for me, it's trying to manage the energy of producing a podcast and not letting that overtake what the writing should be.
You should do it like I do it, which is absolutely bare minimum. It's just you'll hear the dogs barking. There's not much editing unless somebody does say, "Oh my God, edit that out." I'm not editing shit. It goes live because we've got to get back to writing. Also, my show is shorter than yours too. I try to keep mine around 30 minutes or so, although I don't always hit that.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've been conscious of because I have skipped like a whole intro. I'm not worried about producing a thing. Like I do little 5 sort of 10-minute intros to this, but yeah, it's a work in progress. But the whole thing has been, how can I make this simpler? How can I make this easier? And even the conversations, like I just like having chats now. It used to be so planned out with questions and stuff, and now it's just like this is just a delight.
And it is absolutely a delight. And you just we get better and better at it as we do it.
Yeah,
we know that we just rock up and then suit up, show up. Here we
are. Well, we are coming close to time now, so I do have my infamous quickfire round, which I've written 10 questions very, very specifically for you, Rachel. So are you ready for me to throw 10 questions at you as quickly as possible?
Yes. Do you want how quick? Like, are these like yes, no's? I'm
not necessarily.
I mean, talking too much.
No, I say super quick. In all fairness, people are babblers, so feel free to go off on tangents if you want to. We'll kind of see where it goes. That's fine. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Question 1: what time are you most creative?
Unfortunately, 2 p.m. is what I found, and I hate writing in the afternoon. But I've done the timing thing, like the Rachael Herron thing, and between 2 and 4 is my best. Ugh.
What fruit can't you stand?
Mango, because I'm allergic, and that is rude.
There you go.
It's
moonlit beach walk or sunset mountain views?
Oh, beach. Mountains can go stuff themselves. No.
Wow, that's more.
I mean, you have to climb up.
Then
your knees hurt when you go down. No, put me on the beach.
But then you got salt spray in the air, and you got seagulls shitting everywhere, and.
Well, yeah.
I like both,
in New Zealand, I can climb the mountain and then look at the ocean, and that works for me. That's perfect.
What was your dream job as a kid?
Writer. Sickeningly. As soon as I learned it was a job that somebody could have, I wanted it.
Done. Ukulele or guitar?
Ukulele.
Oh. You've just spent 3 hours knitting, and you realize you dropped a stitch 5 minutes into your session. What do you do?
I don't care. I make sure that it won't run any further, and I say it will never be noticed from a trotting horse.
What's your favorite mythical creature?
Oh, it stumped me. Do you know about the questing beast?
I do not, and I feel like if you don't tell me, that's rude.
I've only learned about it. I didn't know it was really a thing. It's in H.G. Perry's new book, which is called The Witch Under the Witch Under the Water, The Witch Under the Lake of the Water, something like that. It's wonderful. And the questing beast is a mythical beast, which has a snake's head and a leopard's haunches, a horse's back end, and deer hooves. And she's made it into this beautiful creature. And I was like, now you're out there, HG. Now you've just like, why did you do that? And then I Googled it, and it's the thing. And then it's a fake thing. But yeah, that's my favorite.
I will be Googling this after. Wow. Who's one author that you'd love to meet? For people
So
listening
many.
on the podcast, Rachel's doing the evil
I
hands.
am rubbing my hands together. Jacqueline Moriarty, who is Leanne Moriarty's sister, and whose books I have just like binged. And I never binge authors. And I have to say that she's coming on my show later this week. So that's
Exciting.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Petal or metal?
Petal.
What one book would you recommend above all others, excluding your own?
That's impossible.
Most people cheat. And say two
Most
or
people
three.
cheat.
Yeah.
They what?
They'll cheat and say 2 or 3. So take it in whichever direction you'd like.
I can only look at things that I've read recently because otherwise I feel like I've never read a book. But Alex E. Harrow's The Everlasting really, really knocked me out this year.
Okay.
It was fantasy, and it's the queerest straight book I ever read. I do not know how she pulled it off. It was incredible. It was so beautiful. So good.
Put a link for that in the show notes. And one bonus question is, where can my listeners find out all about yourself and everything you've got going on?
RachelHerron.com and RachelHerron.com/write will get you on the writer's email list, which I will give you lots of nice things. And occasionally
highly
give
recommend
you
joining.
PSs
I'm on there.
that you can. Oh, thanks, Daniel.
Yeah.
What a treat.
There you go. And that is a wrap. So thank you so much, Rachel. Oh, my goodness. We did so well up until this point. Thank you, Rachel, for joining me this week on the Writer's Chair podcast.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. It's been a delight to see you again.
No worries. And to everyone listening, thank you for being here. If today's conversation sparked something inside you, go and do something with it. That's the whole point. And if you want to go deeper, whether that's with your writing, your process, or actually finishing your book, head over to danielwillcocks.com/writers. There's a growing list of resources for you over there. And until next time, my friends, write bravely and dream big. Thanks again, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thank you.